Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you.
With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians. With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians. With the growing challenges of life in light of both global and domestic development, the Christian is faced with the difficult task of balancing survival within a secular system and at the same time living a Christian life that pleases their Maker. It is for this reason that we need to have frank conversations on the many issues of life through the Christian lens. So, we bring to you Let's Talk About. On Let's Talk About, we talk about health, career, dating, marriage, family, divorce, politics, finance, and all the issues of life that the Christian is confronted with on a daily basis. Join us this and every Wednesday on the YouTube and Facebook pages of Trinity United Church Legon, and let's talk about life as Christians.
Good evening. Welcome to this week's episode of Let's Talk About. In transmission, we had some technical issues. My name is Sedinam Togo Lamadeko. Last week, we spoke about how to make your single life purposeful. We asked, is marriage life for everybody? We talked about varying issues. We discussed how an individual can choose the best of their life. We also talked about how to get married according to your own timeline or choosing to remain single. We talked about tribal issues, we talked about emotional issues, we discussed so many things, we answered a lot of questions. So this week we ask, after making or undergoing I don't want to remain single for the rest of my life. I actually want to spend it with somebody. What are the questions you should ask, the preparations you should make, and some of the things you should consider before saying yes to that person? With me are Reverend and Mrs. Asante last week. And for those joining for the first time, we'll be introducing them briefly. Reverend Asante is a retired minister of the Ghana Baptist Convention. He has been in full-time ministry since 1980. Masters of Arts degree in Christian Education from Touch Trinity Graduate University, I beg your pardon, Seoul, South Korea. A Bachelor of Arts in Theology and Diploma in Biblical Studies from Christian Service University College, Kumasi, and a Diploma in Theology from the University of Ghana, Legon. Mrs. Asante, on the other hand, has worked in the Publications Department of the Ghana Baptist Convention for over 30 years. Currently, she is the president of the Accra Baptist Ministers' Wives Fellowship. Fine, Mama. We are excited.
Our pleasure.
Talk to us on our Facebook page and YouTube page using the name Trinity United Church Legon in the search bar. We would love to hear your comments, contributions, and answer any questions you might have. You may also send your questions, comments, and suggestions to the WhatsApp number 0501 579 996. I read it again. 0501 579 996. We are delving right into it. Papa and Mama, last week we talked about Go Life Purposeful. That episode, I would say, was for those who decided to remain single or those who have decided to remain single for the rest of their lives. Today, we are talking about the other party, those who want to marry. So we are going to be discussing issues concerning decisions you should make and how to prepare before you get married. So to start off, I ask, what ideally should a man or a woman look out for in a person they want to make a husband or a wife? Papa, we'll start with you.
I thank you very much for the opportunity to share. I think when it comes to the issue of what one expects, one must have his or her own expectations. You must have an ideal person in mind. Who do I want to marry? How do I want my husband to look like? Of course, you see a person, how the person looks like, even before you get to know how the person is like inside. So, what kind of person am I envisaging my husband to be or my wife to be? So people have their own likes. So clearly you must have some physical attributes that you desire for yourself. And then character. If you're a Christian, of course, that one is non-compromising. You must marry a Christian because that's what the Bible says. And then we come to, sometimes you might even look at education. What kind of person, what qualification you want, socially, what kind of person you want, economically. Are you looking for a millionaire to marry or a simple person so that the faith comes in? So all these are things that is individualistic. Everyone has their own desires and everyone has own expectations. So these must apply to you as a person, so that you don't go into marriage with someone's expectations or someone's ideals.
Right. Mama, tell us something.
You don't have to look at what someone is wishing for. You have to have your own expectation, like Papa said. So before you say yes, what kind of man do you want?
Or what kind of woman do you want for the men?
Yeah. What kind of woman, what kind of man do you want? And since we are Christians, first and foremost, is she a Christian? Is he a Christian? Then, at times we look at the tribal aspect of it. Am I comfortable with him or her being an ewe, being an Ashanti or a Gan.
Okay.
Then educational background comes in. Okay, I am a Form 4 leaver. Can I go in for a university graduate? I am the man here. I am an SS leaver. Can I go in for a university graduate? Counting all this, you have to be certain, yes, she is the right person. He is the right person. Then what follows comes after.
Right. We'll delve deeper into the tribal issues. But is there an age, is there a particular age at which a person should get married? Is there a particular age? Mama, tell us.
Talking about age, I think in Ghana here, we recommend 18 years or 16.
Age of minority?
Yes.
Okay.
And when we talk about age, I don't think when the person is 20 or 30 years and he or she is not ready to get into marriage, or she is not matured enough, matured in mind, matured in how she comports herself,
Okay.
then she's not ready to get into marriage.
Okay.
So I don't think, apart from being a minor, age really counts.
Okay. Okay, so Mama is saying that apart from a person legally attaining the age of minority, you can be so old and yet not be ready for marriage.
Sure.
Great. Papa, what do you have to say about that?
I think age, it depends on you.
Okay.
Once you're past 18 in Ghana, you can marry. And so you have to assess yourself and decide, especially for the men, decide when you want to marry. I wanted to marry very early in my life.
Okay, how early? Tell us.
When I was around 24, I was ready to marry because I had left school after sixth form. I had worked for a couple of years and I felt I was ready to marry. But my mother said no to my first proposal. Last week I mentioned that when I took my wife, she said no. That was my third attempt.
Wow.
The first one, she said no.
Okay.
And she said, oh, no, she's a relative, long distance relation, so you can't marry her. The lady is from Kontanse, I'm from Asqua, but she linked her. So I said, okay, mommy, I hear you. Then I brought a second person, and she said, oh, the tribal issue, these people, blah, 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 blah. So, okay, I agree. So fortunately, the lady also wanted to go to school, so fine. So I dropped it. Then I met Naomi, and I took her. Hey, Sechere, as a maban. Number one, I drop her. Two, this one, I won't drop her. If you don't want me to marry her, I will travel outside Ghana and marry a foreigner and stay there. And then finally she agreed.
Okay.
So eventually I married at age 26 years and 2 months.
Okay.
26 years and 2
You
months.
think that's too old? With how you are laying emphasis on the 26.
You see, today, a 26-year-old man is still looking, maybe going to do his national service.
Okay.
Or looking for a job.
Okay.
And so at that time, I felt some of my mates felt I was marrying too early because those who went to university at the time were in their final year or something, but I was ready to marry.
You're ready to marry.
So it depends on you.
Okay.
And I had read enough. I prayed about marriage when I was 10 years old, when my parents divorced. And I had to suffer, go to mommy, copy your school fees, go to your mother. You go to your mother, say go to your father. Then I realized that divorce was destroying my life.
Okay.
So I prayed at that time that, Lord, help me when I marry, never to divorce my wife.
Yes.
That was when I was 10 years old.
So your children don't go through the same thing.
Exactly.
Right.
So if you have such an upbringing, you have such a focus and such a goal, your marriage, you've planned for it already. Yeah. So I think young people must pray first and be looking forward to it so that when they are ready, they go into it.
Okay. So, Papa, I have a very interesting question. It's kind of funny to me, but I'll ask anyway. Should I have a particular amount of money, or should I be worth something which can be quantified in a currency before I get married? So should my account have 6 figures or maybe 4 figures or something before I get married? As a man and a woman,
Good.
I'm talking from
So
both
let's
sides.
talk first from the man's side.
Okay.
A man must have his own room.
Okay.
At least your own room.
Okay.
You should have a bed with a mattress.
Okay.
You should have at least 2 chairs in that room.
Okay.
You should have some cooking utensils, some gas stove. I mean, something which, if the wife comes in, can start life with you.
Okay. Okay.
For me, those are basic.
Okay.
Don't think about marriage when you don't have a room. Okay. Whose veranda are you going to live on? Don't think of marriage when you don't have work. You must have a regular income. It might be small,
Okay.
but if it's regular,
You can start from somewhere.
start from somewhere.
Okay.
When we got married, I mean, as I said, there was not much to write home about.
Yes.
We started early, small,
Yes.
single room.
Yes.
By God's grace, now we live in our own house, and that's after 38 years.
Okay.
So don't just say, don't think it came in a flash.
Okay.
So for the man, you must have these basics. Then for the lady, you should also have certain things ready, at least some few utensils that you can enter life with. And you must have a life of your own. The ladies, you must have a life of your own before you marry, so that that man will have to fit into your own life agenda.
Okay.
If you don't have a life of your own and you marry, you go and
become
be
a burden.
not just a burden. You'll be a tailcoat.
Okay.
I mean, the man will move you around because you don't have a plan.
Okay.
But if you have a life of your own, then you marry a man who will help you fulfill your own destiny according to your own plans.
Okay.
Yeah. But as for how much you have, it depends upon you. Nobody will come and check your bank account. But
Once you're living okay,
you
it's
must you must ensure that what you have will be enough to carry you through at least 3 months. If there's no income for 3 months, you, the man, should be able to run your home.
Okay.
That
I think
long.
that question has been well answered. So, Mama, I'll ask you the same thing.
Okay.
But I'll ask you, what level of spirituality should you have as a Christian lady or gentleman before you get married? Just like Papa is saying that in terms of finances, you should be okay. You should have a room and a bed with a mattress and things that can make life okay. Spiritually, what should you have as a man or a woman before thinking of getting married?
I think spiritually, when we talk about spirituality here, is, oh, he goes to church. He's a men's fellowship
Leader.
member. She is a young ladies, a member of the young ladies group. Is she a lady who has a good relationship with Christ? Yehwehwɛ no a ɛhefa na yehu no kɛse. Bɛrima no nso yehwehwɛ no a ɛhe na yehu no kɛse. And to the ladies, don't allow someone to pretend simply because he wants you to.
Himself.
Or at times the ladies too pretend. Unya we are then back to where she is comfortable. Until when we talk about spirituality here, is our relationship with the Lord prayerfully or the radiasem nempai bo etisen ne devotion time bibia, because ye worry we are coming to live
Together.
with Christ na me say minimum no. He is coming to be the third person in the marriage. So make sure that the man or the woman loves the Lord.
Okay. Mama, not to cut you, but briefly, how do I know the person is pretending? Because people do it really well.
Yeah.
How do I know the person is pretending? I've heard so many stories of men who are non-believers, who are even ritualists, and then they target this particular lady, not to be gender biased, but they target this lady in the church, and then they come every time, they'll pay their tithe, they want to be ushers. Once they marry the lady, they say, okay, this is what I worship, so join me, you are my wife now. How do I know the person is pretending?
I will say, if really you are a Christian and you have a good relationship with the Lord and you are praying to God for a husband, God will surely direct you to a man or a woman who will come your way.
Who is not pretending?
Who is not pretending.
Okay, right.
Because it's very obvious that when you yourself, I say, then by all means you will meet the same person.
Okay, right.
I think Psalm 138,
Okay.
verse 8 says, the Lord will perfect that which concerns me. You want to marry, you don't start praying when you are ready for marriage. You start praying long before you meet even the person. And once you are praying and you are faithful to the Lord will perfect that which concerns you. Right. Now let the person pretend. Of course, by their fruits you shall know them.
Yeah.
Right.
So if the person says a Christian, the Lord will surely let you see some green lights.
Reveal to redeem.
Yes. But even if the person deceitfully gets you and you marry, the Lord would have had a plan for that. And will surely bring victory to you.
Okay.
If you keep faith with Him.
Right. Now I have another interesting one. Should age matter when you are choosing a life partner, a husband or a wife? Papa, this one is yours.
Yes, age matters because if you choose anyone at all, maybe if the person, for instance, a man you marry, you are a young person, you marry a lady who has already gone past menopause. I mean, it's your choice, but you should be aware that you may not get a child of your own.
But what if I'm with her for companionship? I don't need children.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You should not expect a child of your own.
Okay.
If you are a young person, a young lady, and it's in your 20s, and you marry an old person like me, I'm in my 60s. So let's say my elder brother who is in 70s. You should expect that you will not have good sexual life for long.
Okay, in your marriage.
Because you are young, you are now coming. The man is over the bar. So age is a factor, yes. You must be very careful how you enter. Okay. Ideally, 5 years plus or minus
it's okay.
Should be okay. And sometimes people can even go to 10. You see, it depends on you, how prayerful you've been in your selection and how sure you are the Lord has led you to that person. If He has led you there, He will surely see you through.
I think it will depend on the age at which you are planning on marrying to. If you are 22, 10 years is okay. 10 years, 10 years gap is okay, yes. But if you are 40 and you are considering 10 years, it may be a problem. But now that we've mentioned children, I have a question. Should you discuss children before marriage, or you should leave it to God? Whatever God will give us, let's just give birth to them and that'll be it. Should we discuss the number of children you want to have, maybe how you want to school them and all that? Should you discuss that before you get married? We'll start with Mama.
I'll say yes.
Okay.
Even though God gives children, discussing it doesn't mean you are endorsing it.
Okay.
So we take it as one of those, I would like us to have 3 children. Then the man to say, 5 children. It doesn't mean anything. We are discussing. So I will say yes. It's good to discuss
children before you get married.
You get into the marriage.
Tell us something.
Yeah, it's important that you talk about not just children, about your future.
Okay. What
kind of future are you envisaging in this marriage? So you talk about all those things, and then that's where counseling comes in. Because if you are in the hands of a good counselor, these issues will surely come up for discussion. And you talk about number of children, and the counselor, if he's careful, will let you know that in some marriages, they don't get children. So how will you manage that with childlessness? So yes, talk about anything and everything.
Okay, talk about anything and everything. Something to take home. Papa, I want you to answer this one for me. Mama, it's not like you can't do, but I want Papa's view on it. How long should you court? As a man and a woman who want to get married, who have marriage in view, how long should the courting period last?
You see, last week we looked at the cycle
of courtship,
of marriage.
Yeah.
That there's acquaintance, there's dating, there's friendship, and then there's courting. Now, my son is in the US. He listened in and we had some discussion. He was asking me, Daddy, but courting in Ghana is the same as courting in America. And I realized, because of our culture, the way we look at things and the way we discuss things might be different from how those concepts apply elsewhere.
Okay.
Here in Ghana, if we say, for instance, we say, oh, you're going to have an engagement. That's what the young men call it. The young ladies call it engagement. But for me, it's not engagement. It is marriage.
Yeah.
But outside there, it is engagement.
Okay.
So depending on where you are, you define your concepts in the context of your society. Now, if it's courtship, by the time you decide you go to court, I believe you might have gone through the other phases. And then the courtship is a place where you decide that, look, let's agree to marry, all things being good for us. So let's give ourselves time. So within that period, a matter of a year, 2 years, I think is good enough. If it goes beyond 2, and there's no tangible reason why you are dragging, then you are in trouble. Because I know people have courted for 7 years. Whatever their reasons have been for 7-year courting, I don't call that courting.
They are studying each other.
Oh, 7 years.
7 years.
For a degree or for a PhD.
PhD.
Because you see, you can never know everything about that person, even if it gives you 10 years.
Okay.
You can't know, because if indeed you are being faithful to yourselves, you're not going to sleep together. You're not going to live together.
Yes.
The lady is not going to perform those wifey duties. So what and what? You won't see her when she wakes up in bed. You won't see how he sleeps, whether he snores. Those things, you can only see them after marriage. So as I said last week, marriage is a step of faith. So whoever you decide to marry, remember, it is a step of faith. And so all the few you have seen, and the red flags, sometimes God gives you signals about how the person handles issues. How when there's a conflict, how do you resolve it? How are you able to communicate? Are you able to communicate freely even when you are angry? These are critical things these are the things you look out for during courtship. How the person responds when he's angry. How the person behaves when you disappoint him.
Okay.
These are things you look out for.
Right. Thank you, Papa. So, Mama, Papa mentioned red flags and other stuff. And he's saying that during courtship, there are so many boundaries and limits you should respect. Now, we respect all these boundaries like the Christian lady and gentleman we are. We get married and I realize that my husband is a sleepwalker. Or my husband snores a lot. Or he's someone who screams in his dream. Or he sleeps with half of his eyes open. And I'm someone who gets scared by those things or uncomfortable. Should I run away? What will I do? Because during courtship, I didn't see any of that. How do I deal with a situation like that?
You don't have to run away.
Okay.
Because, like Papa said, during courtship, you will never see them.
Yeah.
It's in the marriage that you see them.
Okay.
So, I will say, you have come, or he has come, to help you solve some problems in your life.
Okay.
Vice versa. So, we've gotten married. There are some things that are coming up. And Papa said it, that you may not know the person, even if given 20 years.
Yeah.
It's in the marriage that you are going to know each other. So, it's not that, mi kunu da ohwa nkro mo a na udibini kana akosofo ho kokan kire no. No. Ade na meye de aboa no. What can I do to help my husband who snores? What can I do to help my wife who screams? What can I do to help my husband who sleeps with one eye opened?
Okay.
Now it's the two of you. You are in the marriage. So you have to talk about things that has come up in the marriage and try to help each other solve them. You don't have to run away from it.
Okay, so we should try to help each other solve some of these issues.
Yes.
But you see, the person who snores doesn't even know he snores. The person who sleeps with one eye open doesn't even know that when he's sleeping, one eye is open.
Because he's asleep.
He's asleep.
Okay.
So you who have seen it, you must find a way to cope. You see, when the person somewhere is snoring and you touch the person gently and you push the person will turn, and then because the head will change direction, the snoring might even stop.
Okay.
These are little tricks that we have to teach ourselves.
So in short, marriage is not for the faint-hearted.
Oh, no, that's not a strong matter. So snoring and sleepwalking is cool.
Me, I can't to my heart.
You
So
have
you
manage.
see, God will give you somebody who will sleepwalk.
Amen. Amen. We'll manage. So, Papa, now I want us to delve straight into the issue of sex before marriage. The Bible is clear on it. It's a sin. Sexual immorality is a sin. How far is not too far with regards to couples courting? Because like we had a discussion earlier, and you were talking about partners or would be married couples. You talked about the fact that they can visit each other in their homes and stuff, but they should respect boundaries. How far is not too far?
You see, we have enemies, and our first enemy is our own flesh. We are Christians. God's Spirit lives in us, but our first enemy is our flesh. So if you, as a prospecting couples, if you are not careful to draw boundaries and insist on honoring God first, and two, your partner, you might just slip.
Okay.
And you see, unfortunately for us, sex is one thing that is not done in public. It's always in seclusion, but only the two of you will know, of course, plus God. It's always better to obey God and stay safe, because if you indulge in it and eventually you don't marry, you've cheated yourselves. Yes. Especially the man might have cheated you, the lady, because I mean, he has seen your nakedness.
Right.
And if he decides not to marry you, look at the loss.
Right.
And the loss of self-respect.
Right.
But if you're able to keep your integrity, and he says, I will not marry you. And remember, when we talk about courtship might end without marriage, because courtship is not marriage. Not first part one of marriage. Yes.
Even in the courtship, you are still deciding if you want to be married or not.
Exactly. Yeah. So don't give what you cannot get back should the marriage not be consummated.
Okay.
I think that makes most women feel cheated.
Okay.
Because when you indulge in sex and the marriage doesn't come on, you've given out something you cannot take back. So, especially the women, you feel cheated. So I'll tell the young ladies over there, when you are in courtship, don't give out what you cannot take back, especially indulging in sex.
Okay.
For that one, they know.
Right. Right. So we should always honor our boundaries and respect ourselves. Okay. Papa, in 30 seconds, do you think people choose to marry because they feel that, okay, we've gone too far? If we leave it here, it will be a shame, or I've given too much, like you said. Do you think people choose to marry?
Sometimes it happens, yes, because we are humans.
Okay.
So sometimes because they look at how far they've gone, and they think, well, let's consummate it. Let's go ahead.
Let's make it official.
Make it official.
Okay.
But sometimes also it's because they think that there are no options.
Okay.
Because having gone this far, if I say we don't go ahead, am I going to start afresh
with someone else? Right.
So it's better the devil you know is better than the angel you don't know. Only that the devil is always a devil. So
the devil can never be an angel.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so we've learned so far that we should respect our boundaries. We should have something in mind. What do we want our marriages to be like? Who do we envisage our partners to be? What attitudes do we want them to possess? What should their educational background be, and their physical attributes? How do you want your husband or your wife to look like? We have talked about all that, and we'll be going for a break in a bit. We'll see you right after to take your questions, comments, and suggestions. Please stay tuned.
with all I have in me. My heart and all I give to do your perfect way. Knowing you means everything to me. My heart and all I give to do your perfect will. Knowing you means everything to me. Knowing you means everything to me. Loving you with all I have in me. My heart and all I give to do your perfect will. Knowing you means everything to me. My heart and all I give to do your perfect will. Knowing you means everything to me. Knowing you means everything to me. Loving you with all I have in me. My heart and all I give to do your perfect will. Knowing you means everything to me. Oh, my heart and all I give to do your perfect will. Knowing you means everything to me. Knowing you means everything, everything to me. Knowing you means everything to me. Knowing you means everything to me.
Welcome back from the break. If you just joined, this is this week's episode of Let's Talk About. We are discussing tips and preparations a person, a Christian to be precise, must take or make before saying, I do. For those who have joined from the beginning, welcome back. Papa, I have a question. We are now moving to the not so nice side of the before I do situation. Is it advisable to marry someone out of your religion? So can I marry a Muslim? Is it advisable?
The Bible is very clear on that.
Okay.
1 Corinthians tells you, do not be equally yoked with an unbeliever.
Okay.
It means the person who is not a Christian, you don't have to go in for that person. Sometimes people say, oh, I'll marry the person and then convert the person. The Bible is clear. Don't be equally yoked with an unbeliever. Because if you, a believer, marries an unbeliever, then your children will be exposed to the unbelieving world in ways that if you had married a Christian, those children would not have been exposed to.
Okay.
And again, if you marry a Muslim, and these days our Muslim brothers are ready to marry Christians, they will marry you and tell, oh, don't tuba, don't come and don't be converted.
Islam.
You be a Christian.
Okay.
And then the children, you take them to church, to take them to church.
Okay.
Then when they come of age, the fathers will let them know that if they were Muslims, they would have advantages over their brothers and sisters who are not. So it's not a safe territory at all.
At all.
Yes. A Christian
Okay.
must look for a Christian.
Okay, we'll come back to that. But we have a question. Please keep sending your questions and comments anyway. Someone says, as Christians, we believe we should not have sex before marriage. It's considered fornication and a sin to our bodies and spirits. How does one determine if the person they are going to marry is 1, fertile to produce, 2, good enough to satisfy their partner, 3, able to understand what is required of each other when it comes to sex, and some marriages end on the rocks and even in divorce because of sex. So I think we'll take the questions one by one. Papa, how do you know your partner is fertile to produce?
the question is, when you were going to marry, what was the primary motive? It's for companionship. It's for companionship.
Okay.
If by God graciously give you children, praise God.
Okay.
But it's for companionship.
Okay.
So I think the issue of will the person be fertile enough? What about you, the person going to marry? Are you also fertile? Oftentimes, the person who's asking these questions is infertile, and then they turn the things around. Again, he's asking, is the person good enough to satisfy our food? When you go to the even when you go to the market, you go to buy cocoa. Do you taste cocoa before you buy it?
No, you don't.
So how do you want to taste something before you touch?
Okay.
So you see, it's a step of faith. Let's
Okay.
understand that.
Step
and
of
trust that
faith.
the Lord who has led us this far will surely see us to no matter who he gives us. And of course, you have a hand in your choice. So if you have prayerfully considered options and decided to go in for this, trust that the Lord who has brought you this way will give you the fullest fulfillment you want in marriage.
Okay. Mama, say something short on that.
What if you get married and during the marriage something too happens?
Mama, something happens, please.
Something too happens, like even an accident that will cause the man to be not functionable. Okay.
Okay.
So, like Papa said, it's a step of faith. Just have faith that God will not give you something, or a man or a woman who cannot perform, or who is not. In fact, talking about fertility here, when you are going into marriage, in your mind, you want to have children, but at times it doesn't happen that way. So I don't think that should be the only thing to discourage you from going into marriage.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just add that if you're a man and you know you are impotent, please don't go and marry somebody. Because if you marry, you are impotent, and you marry and you are not able to have sex with your wife, the law renders that marriage null and void. So if you are impotent, please don't go and worry somebody's wife, somebody's daughter.
Papa, it's not even only about the impotence. Now, with this LGBTQIQRZZ and the list continues, you have a man who is fully gay, but because of the fear of what society will think about him as a person, he goes to marry someone's daughter and then keeps her at home, knowing very well that he's gay and all that. How do you handle something like this?
God help you.
Hi.
You see, there are some things, there's nothing you can do. I mean, if you are married to a person who is bisexual, he has a wife, he has a husband, and yet he's into this lifestyle, only God can help you.
Papa, I say God can help me. How?
How? Oh, God will help, don't worry.
God will
You know,
help.
at times the red flag that we talk about, they show, but because of maybe the man is helping you financially, so you close your eyes to all those, and you enter into it, and then you find out that
He's this
what is going. So you just take it.
Okay, so we have another interesting one here. The person says the response about the lady being cheated by the man because he has seen her nakedness. Aren't such statements unfair to the man? And why are ladies' bodies seemingly over-prioritized?
You know, it's because men are those who propose. The man is the one who is going to ask the lady. I mean, generally speaking, all things being equal, the men who do that. And a man can propose to as many ladies as possible. I can take you out, have sex with you, take this one. It's not so with the ladies. That's why we put it that way.
Okay.
So it's for the lady to prevent
Such a thing from happening.
From happening, yes.
Okay, you just stay chaste. Okay, so I have another question. With regards to marriage counseling, how important is it for courting couples to undergo counseling before getting married? Mama, take that one for me first.
It's very, 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 very important.
Okay.
Because there are some things that during counseling you'll be taught that you may not know. So if you don't go through counseling and you just get into marriage, so many things happen. And at times, some divorces that come out, if the couple had gone through counseling, they may not even think of divorce.
Okay.
So I recommend that any people who are courting, a man and a woman who are courting, should go through counseling.
Thank you, Mama. Papa, I have a question for you. So we listen as a young lady and a young man, and we have decided to get married. We enroll for counseling, and then our counselor, who I believe has some expertise and training, realizes that you two are not compatible. Does he have the right to tell us that? Or he's supposed to mind his business and just counsel us and let us move on?
You see, the person, if you were not compatible, how did you even come together to decide to marry?
Maybe we are compromising. We want to manage.
Then it means you've started on the wrong foot.
Okay.
On the wrong footing.
So will he tell us? Will the counselor be kind enough?
A counselor will tell you you are not compatible. No. And I don't believe any couple is incompatible.
Okay.
Because you see, we don't know. We are work in progress. God is working on me, and is working on her.
You too.
So we are going to work together so that together we can build a family. So if you are incompatible from the start, the marriage will make us compatible if we are committed to it.
We have another question. This viewer says, Papa earlier on said that marriage is for companionship. How then does a man who is impotent not have the opportunity to marry? Maybe he wants companionship.
Fine, so let the lady know that I'm impotent.
If she's okay, you go ahead.
Exactly.
Right.
So, but don't hide it.
Okay.
If you keep it away from her,
okay,
then you're not being fair to her.
Okay.
When the law catches up with you, the marriage will be null. It's a non-starter.
Okay.
Yes.
So hiding it is the problem, not being it exactly.
Exactly.
Okay. So this also brings us to the part where you have to be open and truthful before even getting married.
Sure.
Right. I have another question. So, do I have the right to choose my marriage counselor? Can I choose my marriage counselor?
You see, it depends on your church.
Okay.
In some churches, there are a group of counselors and you are free to choose.
Okay.
In some churches, the head of the family life might give you a counselor.
Okay.
But that does not prevent you from getting counsel from other people. So assuming you are giving a counselor who you don't feel comfortable with, you go through the motions because you must fulfill all righteousness. But you are free to add, to add, you can add other counselors. Yes.
So Stephen Agalik says, I strongly disagree with Papa that it's only a man that has to propose. As a Christian, it is not written that men propose and women shouldn't. I believe if a woman likes a man, she should be able to tell him. Papa.
You should go and read his Bible. For this reason, a man may leave his father and mother and be joined together with his wife.
That says that the man must
That's
propose.
what the Bible said. Tell me one thing in the Bible, one place in the Bible where a woman went to propose to a man.
I think Stephen Agalik will come back and tell us that.
So please, men, you see, it is not just in Ghana. It's God's creation. That's why the men are the head and the women are the neck.
So the men do the chasing.
You see, you are the head. The woman is the neck. Without a neck, can the head turn?
No, it can't. It can't even hold.
So the head doesn't mean you are the boss.
Okay.
Because without the neck, your headship is useless.
Okay.
So men must propose because we go in for the marriage. We propose because we are the head, and then we pay the bride price. We choose. Of course, if the woman doesn't agree, the woman doesn't choose you, you can't marry her. So even though we choose, they also choose by agreeing to your choice. If the woman says no to you,
that's it.
What is it?
Okay. So as human beings, we are all different. We vary in behavior and perspectives and so many things. Not all men are like you, Papa, and not all women are like Mama. How should you go ahead and marry someone whose parents do not like you? Because ideally, not everybody will meet a fiancé or will court someone who will fight for him or her like you fought for Mama. So if my potential in-laws don't like me, should I go ahead and marry their son? And vice versa?
Let Mommy answer first.
Mommy, tell us.
I think if the man's parents doesn't like the woman, it's the business of the man to deal with it.
To make sure they like you.
To make sure there's peace between the wife to be and the parents.
Mama, not to cut you, but if Papa's mother didn't agree for him to marry you, and he had left to London or something to marry one white woman, then he didn't fight for you. He didn't make her, you know, be at peace with you. Because we'll have parents who say, no matter what you do, you are not marrying her, you are not marrying him. How do you manage in a situation like that?
It's true. That is why we have elders in the church. We talk about it. The pastors will come in on behalf of the lady or the young man. At times, the family members will even come in and talk. Maybe it's the mother who is insisting the son not to marry the lady. So we talk. There was an issue like that. They got married. The mother of the young man said, over my dead body. But at the end of the day, we were able to talk, and now they are married. So don't just give in that, oh, my mother or my mother to be,
Mother-in-law to be
says
no, so
no. So we just quit no.
Papa, how will a marriage like that thrive?
You see, it is, as she said, as Mami said, it is you, the man. If it is your mother, oftentimes it's the man's parents who are vocal. Sometimes the women's parents too can say, we won't allow you to marry this man. But in that case, then the lady has to work on their parents so that they will accept the man as he is supposed to be. But you see, our parents must understand that the marriage is for their children and not for themselves. You are married. You have your own husband. You have lived your life. It's now my turn to marry. And you want to choose, you decide, I won't allow you to marry A or B. I mean, parents must know where their limits, where their limitations are. They shouldn't cross the line. I mean, and for many, sometimes, and for oftentimes, it's because of their own prejudices. They have their own reasons, which is selfish. And they are not thinking of the children.
And
I know parents have said no, and their kids never got married. I mean, what kind of future do you think your child will have with you if you said no, it's okay, I agree with you, now the marriage doesn't happen again, and the person lives as a spinster for her life? I mean, is that right?
Okay, so we have an interesting objection in a question form. It reads, for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and they will become one flesh. How does this mean a man is subjected to propose to the woman and not otherwise? I still strongly disagree with Papa. I think we know who this is at this point. What the Bible was referring to is for a man to leave his mother and father to marry. Proposals are entirely different from marriage. So he's saying that they can come and pay the man's bride price, but he will leave his parents' house and live with the woman.
Oh, but look at the context. Look at the words the Bible uses. It says a man will leave his father and mother and be united with his wife.
Okay.
So that man, so there is not. It's not just a man, male humanity.
Okay.
It is man,
okay,
Bema, who goes to marry a woman. I mean, of course, in some cultures, the women are those who propose, where they have polyandry, where one woman can marry many men. It's the woman who propose.
Okay.
But where the man proposes, then it's the man who takes the initiative and not the other way around. Okay,
so Papa is standing strongly by his stance, and our cherished viewer is also standing by his.
Master, relax, read your Bible well.
You relax. You relax. Okay, so at this point we've talked about a lot of things, but Papa, last week you mentioned that we should be able to make some compromises when we are dating or where we are courting, because not everyone is 100%. People have shortcomings, people have flaws, and we have to learn to deal with them. When considering a person for marriage, we are not saying they should be perfect, but what are some of the flaws or red flags you should flee from? What attitudes and behaviors should tell you, no, don't do it, this is a no-go area? Are there things like that?
Yes. I mean, if for instance, your fiancé blows the top at the least provocation and begins to throw things around, I mean, that's a red flag. You're not married. And if he's throwing things around, what will happen when you get married?
Right.
Again, if you are courting and you find that your spouse, your fiancé or the man or the woman is a flirt who is flirting around, I mean, clearly you should know that when he gets married, he will continue. If you find someone who is a kleptomaniac, who steals, he steals your money. You ask, you say, I haven't taken it. Meanwhile, you were just two of you, you put the money down. Now only two of you were there. You go back and come, the thing is not there. He says, I haven't taken it. Who has taken it? Oh, Samai. So these are brilliant red flags that you should know that, well, if you want it, fine. Otherwise, if you want to flee from it, better for you. Because a broken courtship is better than
a
divorce.
broken marriage. Right.
So don't enter when you see these red flags clearly.
So we have an interesting question here. Someone says, Papa has answered a lot, so I'll let Mama take this one. Mama, can you marry someone out of pity? I don't think it should be can you, because the choice is yours to make, but should you marry someone out of pity?
I'll say no.
Why not?
Because the person may not remain that way. So if you marry the person out of pity, oh, and I say, yes, say, Anoma, since you bono. What said you see an uncle? Ne who wa? Nisunko, ne who wa? So, marriage, and yet, a dear bako, and I sent Tifako, ye ko. Na a humobro, na me dear worry no. Over here, fen or get it grounds, or ye a fee. No, but was the name in your mobo. Tibia be nanami womb. A radiadum, me free satibian. And you know, we easily forget. Seven could be a wabow. Ama we jina ye no. We jina ye. You don't throw away that person, or you don't sabi unti so. That is why I say no. Marry the one you love. Marry the one you want. Never marry because tibia ni pani womu no, ni hu no, and there are so many. And of course those marriages doesn't even last.
Okay. Papa, before we take our next question, is love enough? Mama is saying we should marry the person we love. Is love enough?
Love is key.
Okay.
Because without love, nothing lasts. But love also grows. You see, marriage is a journey. It's a journey without a destination. And so you must enjoy the journey. Because we are not going to a destination. Don't think I'm going from Kumasi to Accra. So when I reach Kumasi, I'll be happy.
Okay.
No, enjoy the journey.
Okay.
So that, because you don't know where it's going to end anyway. So if it's out of pity, where is the love?
Okay.
But if it is love, then the love will seek to be outgoing, self-giving, because the expression and giving of love is its own fulfillment. You are fulfilled because you love the person or the object of your love.
Okay.
And that one, you can go on for the rest of your life.
Okay. So we have another question from Norbert. He says, do you think the value of marriage as suggested or instructed in the Bible is of the same value as marriages today, where there are single parents doing quite well for themselves, even though they have kids and don't have a partner? So marriages that were spoken about in the Bible, the standards that were set in the Bible, and now, do you think they are the same, Papa?
See, how come they are single parents? It's because they started together, there was a problem, and then one left. So that is not the norm. The norm is how they started, and they ought to have continued. So if along the line someone drops, are you going to use that as a standard? No. So the ideal is for us to marry get our children and move on, so that both of us, both parents, can raise the children together. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Okay.
But if for any reason one person leaves and the work of two is left on one, that's not the norm. So the Bible standard is still what is recommended. That's the ideal. That's what you must go for. But if for any reason one person has left, don't abandon your child because you are doing the work of two alone.
Okay.
Yes.
So we have Stephen Agalik again. He says, I don't believe marriage is for only companionship. There is sex to produce, as the Bible states in Genesis 1 verse 28. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish of the sea. I think the verse is long, so we'll leave it there. But he's saying he doesn't believe it is just for companionship.
Of course, not only for companionship.
Okay, but
Sex
it is
is part of
mainly
it.
for companionship.
But sex is part of it.
Okay.
It's part of companionship.
Okay.
So I don't know why he thinks sex is out.
Okay.
So companionship is there, sex is there, and in the companionship is communication, someone you can share your life with. It's also there, and then procreation.
That's
through
right.
sex. If God gives us children, praise God, because there are some people who have married and have not been able to get children of their own.
Okay. Okay, we'll take another one. Misty says, going by Papa's comments about the man initiating things, is he saying if a woman pursues a man, she should be ignored or shunned? Mama, if a woman pursues a man, should she be ignored or shunned?
I don't think she should be ignored.
Because Papa says the man should propose.
The other was last week. Papa told us that the woman can find ways and means.
Send signals, but she
Send
shouldn't.
signal.
Okay.
Because you know how men at times because the man is the head of the family. Intino or na adi nyina so na eye itire no. Enye ona ebe ware wo. Se nya wo na wo be pe no anko ompew. Intino se ampa ohu obi na ope no a oye oba ohu obi no find ways and means
to send the signals, but don't voice it out.
Sir, to send the signal.
So if I send the signal and he doesn't catch the signal, that will be single.
Continue sending the signals.
Will catch
Change the method.
will catch
There are so many ways of killing a cat.
Papa, tell us 2 ways of sending the signals.
Listen, you are a young lady.
Oh.
There's this man you have a crush for. And you realize the man is not even looking at you at all. Maybe you're in the same church. So you go to church, go and sit by him. So that if it's time for us to say hello, hello, as soon as he turns, you are there. Oh, hello, how are you?
Is that not stalking? Are you not too much in his face?
No, I mean, you're only starting.
And who she show?
No.
Hey, oh Pedro.
No, so you start from there.
Hey.
Start from there and keep a distance.
Okay.
Don't just go all over him and
start small.
Why?
Small.
Start small.
Okay.
And then be sending signals.
Okay.
Be sending signals. If he's not responding, but I thought you said you were going to call me, or you didn't say that. Oh, I thought you said you were going to call me. That's so. Oh, okay.
But sometimes that thing is annoying. When you call me, you didn't call me. I called you. That thing is annoying.
That's why you must. These are the signals you send. And then there are other things you can do. Sometimes you can attract the man. Let him know that you have an intention, and you, of course, as you do all this, you keep praying. Trust that the Holy Spirit will open his eyes
so that he will notice
to see and respond. Not only to notice, but to respond positively.
It sounds like a lot of work, but for those who want to be noticed, I think that's the ideal way to do it. So we are almost out of time, but Mama, you have 30 seconds to wrap what you've discussed with us today up.
So what I will say is, before you say yes, be convinced that really he is the one,
or she is the one,
or
both ways.
or she is the one.
Okay.
And also talk about issues.
Okay.
Especially when your parents are not in agreement with. Don't just let go. Talk about issues.
Okay.
And be praying too. Because last week I said, don't do anything without praying. involving God.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, it's God who
Will take charge of all
will
things.
take charge of all this.
Thank you, Mama. Papa, before you summarize, I want you to merge the sermon with an answer to this question. Kingsley says, what do you think about marrying people with sickle cell? I'm not a marriage counselor, but don't do it. Papa, tell us.
Well, you see, sickle cell is a disease, and it can be managed. Thankfully, thank God, now doctors are able to manage people who have sickle cell patients, and they can live a full life. So, of course, if the man is SS and the woman is SS, then of course your children are going to be SS.
So should you marry?
Listen,
Okay.
I'm saying if you feel led by God to do, am I the one who?
Hey.
So God has given us common sense. He says SSSS
Shouldn't.
or ASAS, one of your children will be SS. Then you say, oh, we have faith. You go ahead. If you have faith in God, not in me. So go with God and trust that He will see you through. The point is, before you say I do, be at peace with yourself, with the person you are moving on with. Many times people court, and along the line the man will come and tell the lady, oh, let's put it on hold. And then the man will come back again. Okay, let's continue. After some time, the one will come, oh, let's put it on hold. After that, they will come, let's continue. You see, those sense of indecisiveness is not a good sign.
Okay.
But of course, if you're able to make up your mind, please make up your mind and trust that the Lord, who you have served, who you are serving, will see you through.
Okay.
Marriage is exciting. It's a journey that we don't know what lies ahead, but we know the God who takes us there, and He will surely be with us every step of the way.
Thank you. Before I wrap up my points, I would like to remind all of us, Trinity United Church members, those in the seminary, and even viewers who have never been here, that on the 2nd of May we'll be donating blood here at the Trinity Theological Seminary to give to the Ghana Blood Bank. So if you're available, you're eligible, please do well to pass by, because your blood can save a life. We've learned a lot today. We've learned that before you say I do, you should set standards. You should go by those standards. You should respect boundaries. And you should know that, very funny, marriage is not palm wine. You don't taste it before you go into it. You should learn to make healthy compromises. You don't tolerate red flags that are dangerous and could be detrimental to your marital health. You should ignore flirtatious partners and all those. In fact, flee from them. Then learn to be open, discuss what your wants and needs are. And as an individual, you should ensure that the philosophy of the person you are going to marry should match or tally with yours. Papa has written books we would like to introduce to you. In 30 seconds, we are going to talk about this one, which says Escaping Infertility Through Lifestyle. Another one says Ministering to Childless Couples. You can find all these books at the bookshops I'm about to list to you. The Ghana Baptist Bookshop, Challenge Bookshop, Rehoboth Bookshop at Koeman, SU Bookshop at the SU Reach Tower, and Calvary Baptist Bookshop, Circle. This has been Let's Talk About, and the topic for discussion today was Before You Say I Do. I've learned a lot. I believe you have to, even for married couples. I believe everybody has learned something new to share with someone today. Join us same time next week on Let's Talk About as we discuss other pertinent but educative and important issues. My name has been Sedinam Togolamadeku, and this is where the cookie crumbles. Thanks for joining. Good night.
So sometime in the early 2000s, I had to donate blood on 2 occasions in Kumasi. Fast forward in 2019, I had to go through a surgery, a major surgery, and I needed 2 pints of blood because after all the medical tests were done, it was revealed that my blood level was low, and so I needed some blood whilst going through the surgery. I'm sure if somebody had not donated their blood at the time, I don't know what would have happened. I may have lost my life, or something tragic might have happened. I want to encourage you to step forward and join the donation team on the 2nd of May and donate a blood. You may never know whose life you might be saving. It could be yours, it could be a friend's, it could be somebody you will never meet. donate a blood to save someone's life. Thank you.
To share my experience on how someone who donated blood saved my life. So I encourage you to join the blood donation exercise on the 2nd of May. My 3rd pregnancy came with some complications that led to excessive bleeding and then an emergency cesarean section. A day before that emergency, my HB was 12, but after the emergency cesarean section, my HB was below 6, and immediately I had to be given blood. And so I was given 2 pints of blood, and even with that, my HB came to 6. So you can imagine, without someone donating that blood, I wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't have been able to make it, let alone to come to church and join in fellowship. So someone's exercise or someone's showing of love by donating blood came to save my life. So I just want to encourage you, donate your blood, save a life. You might not know whose life you are saving. Do not fear. Your blood will for sure save someone's life. It can be you, it can be a family member, it can be a church member. Let's come together on the 2nd of May, donate blood to save other people's lives. Thank you.